Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another Tuesday with Terry. Thanks a lot for listening in. Hey, can you do me a favor? Would you be so kind as to share this podcast or the link, whether you're on Spotify, Apple, Anchor, TuesdayWithTerry.com, it doesn't matter, but share that with a friend, family member, or a neighbor. And I'm trying to grow my listeners and my fan base. And man, if you could help me out with that, sure would appreciate it. I hope you're getting some good ideas out of these podcasts. I think we're up to 125, maybe a few more. I don't know. We're getting there. But today, you know, I just spoke about how to build a sales architecture for the process. But today what I want to do is I want to jump ahead and I'm going to give you some scripts because I think scripts are really important. That's how I learned the business. That's how I learned how to sell. And when I first heard scripts, I said, I could never say that. And people today, when I talk about scripts, they say, oh, I don't want to sound like a canned script. I'm a robot. I'm not a robot, Terry. And I say, I know you're not, but how do they make movies? You know, good old Tom Cruise, when he makes Mission Impossible, you think he gets a script? He sure does. He gets a manuscript. And his agent reads it, and he reads it, and they look at it. And he takes that manuscript, he takes that script, and he puts some of his own personality, and he makes the character of Ethan Hunt come alive. And that's what you're doing when you get scripts. You're reading a script that probably doesn't sound like you, but if you put a little bit of your personality and you put a little of your Texas twang in there, or your Southern hospitality, or your New York attitude, or your California surfer dude, don't mean to offend anybody, but anyway, I'm just saying, hey, you got to put some of yourself into it. That's what I'm talking about. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. You got to put yourself. So what I want to share with you is I'm going to go over 35 ways, 35 different rebuttals to close a sale. I'm going to break it up into two. I'm going to give you 17 now, and I'm going to finish up another one next week. You're going to get 18 more. How about that? In 2 weeks, you're going to have 35. Repetition is the mother of learning. You're never going to learn it by just listening to it. So you're going to get it, listen to it, write it down, think about putting your own personality into it, and let's get to town, shall we? Okay, here we go. Number 1, 35 ways to close the sale. Number 1 is what we call the trial close. A trial close is where you're putting your foot in the pool water to test the water. Phrases like this. Does this look like a club that could meet your needs? Do we have everything here you were looking for? Let me ask you a question. What did you like best about what you just saw? Can you see yourself exercising here, working out here? Now, these are all for the fitness business, but you can come up with these for any business. Did we have everything you were looking for, Mrs. Jones? Those are called trials. You're not asking them to sign up or to sign the paperwork or to get started. You're just asking, hey, how are we doing? You liking what you're seeing? You're kind of just asking that. Number 2 is the agenda close. An agenda close is where you had 5 or 10 things on a piece of paper and say, you got to do this, 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 and I'll have you on your way. So you've got to create the agenda. And when you're talking to somebody, say, here's what I'd like to do. The first thing I'd like to do is get a copy of your photo ID. It's a pretty simple process. The second thing is we got to get you set up for your heart rate monitor. The third thing we got to do is we got to get you set up and decide which type of membership you want. Fourth thing we got to do is get you a membership card. The fifth thing we got to do is we got to get you your heart rate monitor. We got to get you set up for your next 5 or 6 classes. I'm going to get you the schedule. We'll do it. But I'm giving you a laundry list of things that we've got to do in order to move us forward. That's an agenda close. Number 3 is the preference close. We call that also the alternative choice. Which one is better? The budget membership or the premier membership? The basic or the premier? The twice a week membership or the every day of the week membership, right? You're giving people choices. Those are called preference close. Number 4, minor point close. Minor points are when you talk about a value-added piece to the program that you kind of overlook. Oh, by the way, I forgot to tell you, we offer a money-back guarantee. I don't know if I mentioned that before, but it's kind of a minor point, but it might be something you find. Some people find that useful in making their decisions today when they know they don't have to risk it all and you don't have to make your final decision today. Number 5 is an assumptive close. Assumptive selling is where you're just moving ahead, man. You're just moving through the process, and you showed them the prices, which one of those do they want, and then you start filling out the paperwork, you start writing paper, but you're basically assuming that they're going ahead with the yes decision. By the way, how do you spell your last name, Wes? How do you spell that? Just like it sounds. Okay, Jones, Jones, Wes Jones. Thank you very much. Number 6 is the education close. The education close is where you educate somebody. We use that in Orange Theory Fitness a lot about the science behind the program, the epoch, and how the heart rate monitor 12 to 20 minutes inside of the thing, how you get results by using the science. We educate the consumer, and then we ask them to move forward. Number 7 is a directive close. And a directive close is simply making a recommendation or directing somebody to do something based on everything you told me, Wes. I'm assuming that you want to go with the unlimited program. Our highest, quickest results in the shortest amount of time. It's our most value-driven program, and our members get the best results. That's a directive. You're telling them based around what they told them, what they should do. Number 8 is a relevant story close. Do you mind if I tell you a story? I mean, I'm going to tell you a story. You'd use this when somebody says they want to think about it or they need to check with their spouse. But we had a guy in here that come in and he took a free class and he left. And then a couple of weeks later, he came back, took another free class and he left. And then another free, he kept doing that. And finally, after a month and a half, 6 weeks into it, we finally got him to go ahead and sign up. And you know what? Every time I see that guy, you know what he says? Why didn't you put a little more, nudge me a little bit more? I wish I had gotten started just a little bit sooner. Or we tell a testimonial story about somebody that got involved that lost 30, 40 pounds. You have testimonial stories for your business. You have relevant stories for your business. Your team, if they're new and they're just getting trained, they don't know those stories. You have to document and write those stories down so they can tell the story. It's a relevant story close. Number 9, compared to what? When people say it costs too much. Don't just try to justify what we tell. A young sales guy will start to just justify and say, well, we're worth every penny because we're open 7 days a week and we got, 55, 60 classes a week and we got to do this and we do this. And stop doing that. Let them justify why they think your price is too high. So when someone says the price is too high, all you have to usually say is compared to what? Because if something is high, you might look at me and you think I'm a pretty tall guy. I'm 6'2", but compared to what? Now, compared to somebody that's 4.5 feet tall, I might be tall. But compared to this guy down in San Antonio that's on the Spurs, that's over 7 foot tall, I'm relatively short. So you've got to compare. If somebody says it's too high, they have to be able to compare that to something else. Number 9 is the invitation close. I love this one because I love for people to make a decision themselves. We always want to invite somebody to become our newest member. We have over 1 million members at Orange Theory Fitness. We'd like you to be 1,000,001. The invitation close is we just invite them to start sooner rather than later on achieving their goals. Number 10 is the order sheet close. The order sheet close is pretty basic. You give them a list of all the things that you're going to do. You fill out all the paperwork and you simply turn the paper. You slide it across the way and you say, all I need is your autograph. Not your John Hancock, but we want an autograph because that boosts up their ego just a little bit. We need their autograph, the order sheet close. Number 11 is the sudden death close. What's a sudden death? Oh my gosh, here's the sudden death close. John, I've been talking to you. I've been following up and you've been coming in here a couple times. Either we're going to move forward with this and get you started in achieving those goals today, or we're going to call it a day, call it quits, and you can move on and look for something else. But a sudden death is, I'm not going to follow up with you anymore. I'm not going to invest any more time with you. It's either we're going to move forward with this today or we're not. That's the sudden death, number 11. Number 12 is the instant reversal close. Usually this happens when somebody says the price is too high and you immediately do the instant reversal. And you say, well, that's exactly why you should do it. And the guy does a double take. He said, what? You say, yeah, that's exactly why you should do it. You see, we've got a program running this month where your first month is $99. You're getting another $99 off the regular price, where you're never going to have that. After this month, you're never going to have that program again. So I know you're looking to save time, you're looking to save money, but that's exactly why you should do it, because you can save the time and you can save the money. We call that the instant reversal. Number 13 is I want to think it over close. The one to think it over close is when somebody gives you the proverbial, never make a decision the first time in. And you say, I can understand that. I never make a first-time decision as well. Can you do me a favor? Could you give it real careful consideration? I mean, maybe you can help me understand a little bit better. Is it that we don't have treadmills that are fast enough for you? And he's going to say no. He said, well, it's because we don't have enough weights and the dumbbells aren't heavy enough for you. And he's going to say no. It's because you didn't like the coaches. And he's going to say no. You don't like the music. You don't like the color orange. I don't know what it is. But you do this take away until he says, you don't have anything more. And you say, well, help me out. What is it exactly that you need to consider? Help me out here. Number 14 is the isolation close, meaning is that your only concern? And I use the algebraic formula where you took, one side of the equation and you move it over to the other side and you solve the problem. But the isolation close, when you say, is that your only concern? The follow-up to that is, if it weren't for that, then would you go ahead with a yes decision today? So take whatever the concern is out of the equation and ask the person, just like everything else. If they say yes, then you say, okay, now we've got the real objection that we got to solve. If you don't do that, they'll keep giving you excuses like they got to think it over, and then the spouse, and then the money, and then the time, and it's really not right, blah, blah, blah. So always try to isolate it. Is that your only concern? And if I can show you a way to make it affordable, I can show you a way, make sure you don't have to worry about losing out. Could we go ahead and get you started today and give you the money back guarantee? Number 15 is the 3-question close. I love this one as good as any. So 3 questions for our business. You got to come up with these for yours, but are you interested in your health, Wes? Yes, he is. He's shaking his head. Yes, he's sitting right across from me here, standing behind the cameras. Are you interested in taking better care of your health, Wes? And he says, of course I am. That's why I'm here today. Well, if you're ever going to take better care of your health, Wes, when do you think would be the best time to get started? And I shake my head yes quietly, and he nods his head yes, and he knows I'm thinking what he's thinking, and he's thinking he needs to get going today. Number 16 is the fear of loss close. Most people, you know this for a fact, people are not motivated by the desire for gain. They're motivated more by fear of loss. And so what is it in your business that you could take away? Is there something that someone would be afraid of losing? It could be the promotion that month. It could be the discount. It could be the guarantee. It could be anything, but you've got to decide what it is that you can bring up that is a way for you to take something back. And if they don't act today or they don't act this week, they potentially could lose that opportunity. Number 17 is the price versus the cost, right? Price is a one-time thing. Cost is a lifetime thing. You said, Terry, what do you mean by that? You're going to be concerned about the price that you pay, the down payment, one time and one time only, and that's today. But you will always be concerned about the quality of service, the quality of coaches, the quality of trainers, the cleanliness of the studio, whether or not we have hot water, whether we open on time or close, whether we start the classes on time or not. You're always going to be concerned about that. If I'm reading you correctly, Wes, and I think I am, you're probably most concerned about the ongoing level of service and continuing to provide, that we would continue to provide for you, as opposed to just the one-time upfront fee today. Is that correct? And again, you're going to see what I'm not saying all these work every time, but what I can tell you is if you don't have any of these, you're guaranteed to strike out and not make it work. So what I've just done is I've given you 17 ways to close the sale in 13 and a half minutes. I'm going to give you the next 18 next Tuesday. Tune in. 18 more ways to close that sale. Write these down. Play this for your staff. Repeat it and repeat it. Repetition is the mother of learning. Go get them. Close that sale.